What's up, nerds? Welcome to this edition of Them Nerds. Tony over here, Jerry over there, coming to you live from his study. It smells of leather-bound books and rich mahogany. We are here today to talk to you about... Oh, he's behind me, isn't he? Oh, God. Oh, God. We're here to talk to you about this guy, and his friend Sam, and their new show on Disney Plus, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Speaking of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we have a giveaway. Stay tuned to the end of the video to find out how you can win this Baron Zemo Funko Pop. Let's get into Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Jerry, tell us all about this wonderful series.
You know, it feels like it's been ages since we've had a good Disney Plus TV show come out.
Weeks! It's been weeks! Literally two of them.
The show starts off with, I think, probably one of the best things that they've shown on screen or on TV or anything else. That flying scene between Sam where he's, just using his robotic wings to fly around a gully of sand. I don't know if that's what they call it. I think it's called a cavern or something. I don't know. Cave.
Fern gully?
A crevasse.
A crevasse. I wrote down, I was just looking at my notes here. I wrote down that may be my favorite action scene ever in the history of action scenes.
Oh, yeah. It was like Top Gun.
Yeah.
I think that they literally brought together a scene that would be great for Superman that they never thought about using for Superman.
Right. And speaking of Superman is like A-level hero, right? And Falcon has been near the top of the superhero, dog pile for a long time. But I felt like that opening scene established like this idea that this is like a top level guy.
Yeah.
He felt like a big time hero in that first scene, which I loved.
I think we saw more of him, which is his whole thing is he flies. That's why he has the name Falcon. We saw more of him flying in this one, 3 or 4 minute sequence than we saw in the last 6 movies he's been in.
Right. And flying really well.
Yeah.
Like every inventively.
Every movie that he's been in, he's flown in, but it's more like a, like a flap or just like, maybe swoop in. There wasn't like, this was like some, jet plane style flying.
Right.
It was like basically like watching Star Wars.
Yeah. Which is funny because this is the scene and when we were doing the Falcon and Winter Soldier preview video that we did previously, which you can check out by going to our Falcon and the Winter Soldier playlist, which is linked down below. I mentioned something about the Tatooine planet, and this is where I was thinking of Tatooine.
Yeah,
it was great.
I thought it was great. So you get to see they're obviously trying to do a rescue mission. They're trying to get there before they go into enemy territory where they can't cross borders. And I mean, he's just flying around. He's flying through helicopters. He's using his mini, I don't know what the Red Wing, isn't it his name?
Yeah, Red Wing, his drone.
Yeah, Red Wing drone to like blow up helicopters and do all this stuff. Like it was literally, it drew you in the second that whole thing started. It's like the exact opposite of what happened with WandaVision. WandaVision for a lot of us, like I enjoyed the first episode. A lot of people didn't. They were like, I don't know what's going on. This doesn't make any sense at all. I don't know what's going on. You know what's going on when you're watching this.
Right. WandaVision's first 2 episodes, you had to sit through them in order to enjoy the entire show, like as a whole.
Yeah.
Like most casual fans weren't going to sit down for WandaVision episode 1 and be like, oh my God, that was a really good show.
Yeah.
They were gonna, people were like, well, okay.
What is that?
Yeah. But Falcon and the Winter Soldier, this first episode was like, that's some good action stuff.
Yeah.
And, we'll talk more about some of the other action sequences later. But I mean, just that first action sequence of him flying and trying to do the rescue, so good.
Yeah, I think that what we learned about this show, and I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but I'll get back into what happens next. It's the realization of these characters to figure out what kind of heroes they are.
Right.
That's the whole point of the series.
Yep.
So you have, Falcon ends up doing his big rescue, and then you go straight into this little town where they explain that these flag smashers are this new group that's coming around, and they're going to be causing problems. And but Sam, although he wants to, hear all about it, he needs to get back to Washington, D.C. for his Captain America ceremony.
Moon stuff.
Yeah. So,
speaking of that little scene in the town, we were introduced I mean, we were introduced early on when Sam was doing the rescue, but we were introduced to Torres, who is his kind of Air Force contact, his man on the ground. Maybe he's the man on the ridge.
He's the engineer the whole time.
He was there the whole time. Oh, I can't wait till the Mephisto episode. But a credit to the writing of this show, like you immediately, or at least I immediately felt importance for that character right away. Yeah. I was like, what's going to happen with this character? This is an important character right off the bat. Just like with WandaVision, how we immediately knew that Agnes was going to be important. Not Dottie so much. Poor Jerry. But so. So anyway, and especially when he was later on with the Flag Smasher stuff. Yeah. Ralph Boner. Jesus Christ. All right. So we go to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, where we see that Sam has decided that the best place for Captain America to continue to live on in the hearts of all Americans is inside of the Smithsonian. So he gives up the shield. And he returns back home and visits his sister in Louisiana. What's right there, I think, does this mean that we're going to have some kind of connection to Monica Rambeau?
It's possible.
Louisiana's not that big, and the bayou. I know a couple people that were out of a bayou. They knew each other too.
Yes. I had that thought too when I saw the Louisiana backdrop. I was like, oh.
His sister's just on the back porch, and he's like, and then like you hear through the other side of the woods.
Do you assume there's going to be a Deliverance crossover?
I mean,
it's Disney. I don't think we're going that far. We'll see. They're saving that for Loki.
Yeah. I thought what was important about that scene was it was kind of showing the real world loss that happened when people blipped out for those 5 years, where she was left to take care of the family business for the 5 years, and it basically went to shambles.
Right.
And now they're all back, and the repercussions of now you're back, but I've been, everything's been gone and devastated in the last 5 years. We can't get that back.
Right. And that's something that's a theme that was explored a little bit too in WandaVision with, Monica being gone during the blip and her mom dying while she was blipped out. And, I think that's an important theme that we're probably going to see a lot over this next phase is, that's a pretty big event that they just kind of, they had one movie to sort of talk about it, but it's definitely something they're going to have to keep going back to and talking about.
But, the real crazy thing is, all these parents especially pass away during that 5 years that they're gone. Is it just a coincidence that they come back in 2023?
I don't know.
They skipped right past Corona.
Stupid. Bucky is disappointed in that.
Well, I'm just saying. So then we see Bucky, and we see a scene back from the past where we get to see the actual Winter Soldier, and he's busting through walls and fighting people, and we see some nerds downstairs also, and one nerd's like, I want to be real nerdy tomorrow, so I need to go to bed early, and he heads on upstairs. It was a poor choice.
You should have gone to the bar. There's a lesson, kids.
Yeah, never pass up a Michelob. So then he goes upstairs. Whatever. So he goes upstairs and he's trying to get into his room, and the Winter Soldier ends up killing somebody right in front of him, and can't leave any witnesses behind, and ends up killing this man.
Yeah, because this is like 80s Winter Soldier. This is Mortal Kombat mask with long hair and eyeliner Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So
he was like a Trent Reznor.
Yeah.
So he ends up. We go back to the future, and we see now that Bucky has made friends with the elderly man, and likes to spend time with him, which kind of makes sense because, like Bucky says, he's 106 years old.
Yeah, they're close in age.
Yeah, in reality, he's 106 years old. That man's probably like in his 80s or 90s. Like he's his like apprentice.
Yeah, I thought it would have been funny if Bucky called the old man kid or something, because he's like 30 years older than him. But yeah, so and then that old man, we find out later,
is the father of the man that he killed.
Which
so he's doing something that we've heard in several movies that have to do with people who have been assassins in the past. He's trying to clear his ledger.
Yep. Trying to clear the red out of the ledger is a connection that we could be seeing here. I've been hearing some rumors.
I would hope so, because I think that that's really what people wanted to see. Like, this is what they want to know, what happens in the Red Room. Hopefully, we finally get to find out, maybe in May. And but this idea that Bucky does have this past with Black Widow in the past, and he's obviously like he said himself, for 90 years he was just basically used around to go around killing people. So
Yeah.
There's a lot of backstory to get into.
That's right. Yeah. For those of you who are not following this particular thread, there have been some whispers that Black Widow coming out in May is going to connect to this show in some way with some of the flashbacks. You can't really have two Soviet assassins running around who know each other from the past and not have some kind of connection there at some point, I would think.
Especially when we've seen it was Winter Soldier, when he's fighting Black Widow, and she clearly makes the statement, why don't you recognize me? Or you can at least pretend like you recognize me.
Right.
Yep.
And, speaking of kind of clearing his past, my background here, I picked it because I like the trees, but I also picked it because my favorite part of this show was actually the way that they're going to be exploring Bucky and his development, trying to get he went from being evil assassin to being like, oh no, my friend Steve is still here, and what have I done, to hermit in Wakanda, to fighting an alien mega threat. And now what? He's eating dim sum and trying to go out on dates. He's got a lot of stuff to get through.
Yeah, I actually found that scene to be very similar to The Sopranos. It's this, killer, this ruthless killer that goes, it still needs therapy. Right. And he wants help, but then he's also having to try to hide a part of what he did, because he considers himself such a monster.
Right.
And he's also, at the same time, he thinks like, I did it for a purpose. You know what I mean? So
I love the
psychologist seems like she's like, dude, this is what we do. We just kill people. Get over it. Let's
get over it. Suck it up, Buttercup. I like the idea that we're seeing, like you said, what does it mean for these two to be heroes at this point in time? The Avengers situation has sort of dissolved, in its most current or most recent state. Bucky is trying to find his way in the world. What does he even become? And Sam is, he thought, oh, I'm going to put this legacy of Captain America to bed. And then we find out later that's not the case.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
Well, you also saw in that scene that Bucky's kind of cut himself off from everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
So this hasn't been terribly long since they all came back, but that Sam is still trying to reach out to him, knowing that he's the only other person in the world that doesn't really have anybody out there either. And yet Bucky's, just like going around meeting up old people.
Yeah. Sam and Bucky have that connection because of Captain America.
Yeah.
And I think that they both, I think we're going to see throughout the series that they both want that legacy to continue in whatever way they can continue it. But as we see later on, that's not going to be as easy as they thought it was going to be.
So then we move on, and we see that the Flag Smashers are robbing places, and it looked like maybe it was Italy. I could be wrong.
Switzerland.
Which then, there's mountains in Switzerland, which makes me wonder.
Is Wundagore near Switzerland?
Yeah. I'm sure it's not far from that place they destroyed. What was that place called?
Sokovia.
Sokovia. So,
yeah.
Or Victor Von Doom's castle, or
Latveria.
Yeah. It's a very small location.
It's all connected.
You figure that the Von Trapps were able to run all the way out of Nazi Germany into it, in 45 minutes. So it's not that big.
Yeah, they had the power of song.
Yeah. Climb every mountain. So then we go straight into him fighting Taurus and knocking him out. But Taurus was smart enough to put on his camera before it happened so he can catch it. And so now we see that there's super powered people inside of the world, and this is something that we need to be worried about.
Yeah. That the guy who Torres identified as the ostensible leader of the Flag Smashers kicked him, and basically he went flying across the entire street, which that's not a normal human being sort of kick. That's obviously a superhuman sort of thing. These flag smashers, at least this flag smasher at this point, is displaying the same sort of superhuman abilities that Bucky or Cap might have. That kind of super soldier, like superhuman strength sort of situation.
And we know that, in Civil War, that when they go to that lab, we see that they had every intention of creating a super army, basically. So are these leftovers, or is somebody starting it back up? Seems like they are.
Well, in Civil War, the big scene with Zemo, who we haven't met yet in this show, but we know we will. He draws Cap and Bucky, and Black Panther is there, and Iron Man is there, to this old Hydra spot where he has killed all of the other members of this project that created Bucky.
Yeah.
And he says he's basically, he doesn't want any more superpowered individuals. Well, with the appearance of Thanos and all of this world-changing stuff, maybe he decided that those sort of people are okay, but only if they're under his control.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Seems like it to me.
Yeah.
But then we go into the scene where we notice that Sam's trying to save his family, shrimping business,
Shrimping ain't
Lieutenant
easy.
Dan. Yeah. Lieutenant Dan isn't going to be able to employ himself without that boat. So he does everything he can. He thinks himself, here I am. I've done all this stuff for the world. Least they could do is give me a, reverse mortgage. And so he goes in there and he finds out that being a hero is great, but it's not very lucrative.
Right. I enjoyed the scene with the loan officer where he was trying to get a selfie and talk to him about how great of a hero he is. But at the same time, he's like, well, you don't make any money. Superheroes don't make any money. We can't give you a loan. Get out of here. What's wrong with you? But hey, can you pose with your arms out?
Yeah. I also think that, it's actually, it was a great scene because it explains a lot of the grapplers, especially the bruiser characters of the MCU. They always have to resort to some kind of hero by hire or hero for hire mentality, because that's the only way they get to make their money. They're not a Tony Stark who's going to come up with a reactor and the next you're a billionaire. They're the ones who are like, well, I'll go beat up a drug dealer and you can pay me $15,000.
Right. That's always a big question when we think about these heroes. Like, as Sam mentions, he's like, I have government contracts, I'm going to be making money, but like, what's Bucky doing?
Yeah.
Is he going to start bussing tables at the
Look, he's over there journaling.
Yeah. He's over here going through his 12 steps.
Next episode, he just brings out a dream board. But so then we see, their ideas of being able to save their fishing business and obviously some kind of catering business are down the drain. So they go to, we see the scene where the government's announcing that there needs to be hope restored inside of America. And how are we going to do that?
By U.S. agent. But they don't call him U.S. agent, which is the insulting part. What do they call him?
Captain America.
They call him Captain America right after, and it's the same doggone senator, or I think it's a senator, right?
Yeah, that took that. Yeah.
So we get like, this whole idea of like the hero never needs to wear the mantle, right? Sam, from the very beginning, when Steve Rogers gives him the shield, he says, how does it feel? It feels like this is somebody else's, belongs to somebody else, right? And he decides, I'm not Captain America. I am what I am. And the legacy of Captain America needs to just be that, a legacy, an inspiration.
Yeah.
But the government, in its infinite wisdom, decides that they need to take a nice blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy and put him in the exact same costume with the exact same shield and call him the exact same doggone name. What a slap in the face.
And, the way that they actually, have him look deadpan into the camera, I thought was a great way to end the episode. In the comics, that is what happens when Captain America decides to, they think he's dead. They're going to give up his mantle and give it to somebody else. It actually is supposed to go to one of two people, Nick Fury or Sam. and the government decides that the world is not ready for a black Captain America, and so that's why we get, the USA
John Walker. Yeah, and it's funny that that's not the only time in the comics where a black Captain America wasn't acceptable.
Yeah.
Right. Because we've had the Isaiah Bradley Captain America, who was the Black Captain America, and then his grandson Elijah Bradley, who becomes Patriot, and there was guff in the Young Avengers about him holding that mantle. I anticipate this being a story that gets touched on during the show.
Oh yeah, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think that they'll delve into I think devil's the right word. What either way, they'll deep dive into the idea to find out that there have been past incarnations. I mean, you had Steve in the ice for 60 years. Somebody was, I'm sure they were trying to figure out a way to replace him with somebody. There's a lot of war that needed to have a hero for that, so.
Right. Well, and then, without going down a side road too far, Isaiah Bradley, the Black Captain America, as they refer to him in the comics, he was part of a group of black soldiers who were given experimental treatments, which sounds familiar. And that was such a great storyline. And I'm listen, for those of you guys that are out there and you actually, watch us regularly, that we came up with a lot of crazy theories and predictions for WandaVision. But I'm going to die on this hill. We're going to meet Eli Bradley, and this is going to give us the beginnings of Patriot. We're meeting him during this show. I guarantee it. Because we've already got Tommy and Billy from WandaVision. We know we've got Cassie Lang. We know we've got Kate Bishop. They have to be building toward Young Avengers, and this is the perfect opportunity to introduce the Isaiah Bradley leading down to the Elijah Bradley storyline, giving us Patriot.
So we've we've entered into the realm of theories.
Yeah.
I think that what I've noticed about WandaVision, and then obviously so far on this show, and then with Loki, I think that the idea is that they are introducing superhuman people, whether it's, genetically modified superhuman people or whatever, where the public are now seeing these people, and it's causing a fear. And I think that they're doing this so that when we actually do start getting mutants into the MCU, there's a reason why regular people are afraid of superhuman people. There really isn't a reason before that. There was nobody there. So if you just saw Superman fly off, you're like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. He must be an alien, but my God, he can pick up a bus. So who cares? Right. But if you just saw, your grandma get hit by that same bus purposely, you're a little more scared of these people.
Right. Yeah. Well, we already know that Madripoor is going to be something that happens on this show. So, I mean, maybe we'll get mutants. We didn't get mutants in WandaVision.
I don't even know if we'll get mutants in the series. I just think this is being used. Wanda trapping that town of people, scaring a whole town of people. Then this thing where you're going to see these superhuman people causing havoc in communities. You're building up a fear amongst regular people of the reason why you should be afraid of superhuman people. It's the exact opposite of the reason why I think part of the reason why Civil War never really worked. There wasn't a real reason to be fearful why you needed a list. The only superhuman people you're dealing with are people who have helped. I mean, even Age of Ultron, that was caused by a robot.
Right. And like Sokovia was like over there, and that's like a common thing. You're never scared of something until it hits close to home. Well, New Jersey is pretty close to home. They've had this sort of like undercurrent of like the heroes becoming more of a risk as the MCU has kind of progressed, and I think that it really ramped up with WandaVision.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I guess we'll see. We still have what do we have to look forward to in this series for sure? Not just our theories. We've got the development. What's that?
Carter or Sharon Carter, right?
Sharon
Is that her name?
Carter is
Sharon.
going to be on the show, right? Agent 13, Sharon Carter. She's for sure on the show. Zemo, his development, hopefully as a big villain. He's a big villain in the comic books. He got a very slight treatment in Winter Soldier, or sorry, in Civil War. We are going to see Bucky and Sam sort of developing their heroic personas. And we're going to see what's up with the Flag Smashers.
Yeah. And, they've said themselves that there is a lot of cameos in this show. So I'm sure there's going to be more. Like we saw Rhodey in this one. I mean, and
right.
we knew he was going to be in the series. I don't know if any of us thought it was going to be, within the first 15 minutes. So
yeah, I don't think that's the last we see of him either.
No.
He even says to Sam, like, I'll be in touch.
Yeah.
So I think it laid the groundwork very well for a quality series. And just like with WandaVision, I can't wait until next week. Although it's different. With WandaVision, it was like, oh, I wonder what they're going to unveil next week. Like, what surprises are they going to give us? What are they going to shock us with? And with this show, I don't necessarily like expect to be shocked. It was just a really good superhero show.
Yeah, it was great. I thought it was great. I mean, I would give the first 15 minutes of the show like a solid 9. Probably the rest of the show like a 7.5 out of 10. Like I thought it was good. It kept my attention.
Yeah.
But it felt like when you watch a big MCU movie, it's up and down. It's like when you're telling the story part of it, it's interesting still, but you still want to see what somebody getting their ass kicked. So
yeah, and we did, and we definitely will some more.
Yeah.
Especially with Bucky having flashbacks, we're going to see a lot of like crazy, Mortal Kombat mask Winter Soldier action.
I also like that they didn't really hold back on violence wise. I didn't feel like it was anything different that we wouldn't have seen inside of a movie.
Right. Yeah, it was, I would say if this was on film, it'd be a PG-13.
Yeah.
So is it TV 14?
I don't know. It's probably like a Goofy or something.
Is that how they rate things on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
This one's a solid Mulan.
Yeah. You don't want to get down to Donald Duck.
No, you don't. They save that for over on DC. All right. Well, thanks for joining us today, guys. As promised at the beginning of the video, we are giving away this Baron Zemo Funko Pop. All you have to do is like and subscribe. You have to follow us on social media, interact with us in some way, shape, or form, and you will be entered to win. Any parting thoughts?
Me?
Yeah, you. Who the hell? Bucky?
I don't know. You were talking about the giveaway, and then there's parting thoughts. No, just stay nerdy.
Yeah, you do that. Stay nerdy. All right, guys. Be good. Be good to each other. Later, nerds.
Later.